All right, we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the halftime show at Super Bowl 60 between the Patriots and Seahawks last night, which of course Seattle won to get their second Super Bowl ring since the Pete Carroll time. And that, of course, was Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. That's who performed the entire halftime show last night. And he had some cameos. He had Lady Gaga show up. He had Ricky Martin show up. He had some people popping in, doing a little bit of vocal help for him. And the big controversy, of course, surrounding Bad Bunny's halftime show is that, one, it was in all Spanish. Of course, he is from Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory, and a lot of people on the right, on the conservative side, MAGA, Republicans, Donald Trump supporters, think that this was a big political snub by Roger Goodell, who is the commissioner of the National Football League, of the NFL. And they, of course, notoriously do not get along, Roger Goodell and Donald Trump. Now, Trump has pushed the immigration issue to a boiling point between the Minnesota thing going on and here and ICE agents. And so a lot of people are like, hey, this is an American football game. This is being played in the United States of America. Of course, it was out in California at Levi Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers, and that we should have had an American speaking, an English speaking person, perform this concert, this halftime show, that we shouldn't have had to listen to somebody in complete Spanish where a majority of the people didn't even know what he was saying. And of course, they believe that we should have had somebody that is from here in America, which is what a lot of people are saying, not realizing that Bad Bunny is actually from Puerto Rico, which is an American territory. It is not an American state, but he is an American citizen by law. So there's a little hang up there on that. Let's start off. Let's take a little quick look. We'll show you some of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show here, a couple seconds of it, and then we'll see some of the reactions from around the world and celebrities in sports and Donald Trump and, of course, Roger Goodell and all the people involved in this. And then we'll take a few questions and comments and concerns from all of you down in the comments section after I'm done. But let's dig a little deeper into this, and we'll see how this is playing out. And then I'll give you kind of my thoughts on the problem here and the back and forth, because I see some pros and I see some cons in this. And so I'll explain my thoughts, and then you can let me know what you think.
The National Football League welcomes you to the Apple Music Super Bowl 60 halftime show.
Qué rico es el latino. Hoy se ve.
Yeah, that's his real name. If you didn't know, Bad Bunny here. We can skid that a little bit backwards. It's Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. Is that how you say his last name? Ocasio? And, of course, better known as Bad Bunny.
Ey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Ey, muchas novias. Hoy tengo una, mañana otra. Pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Ey, muchas novias. Hoy tengo una, mañana otra. Ey.
So, believe it or not, I know a little Spanish. Just a little. On like a 1 to 10, I probably know about a 3 out of 10. I can get along if I need to get along, if I'm trapped somewhere. I don't know the language. I don't listen to the music. This is not my genre. I listen to country. I listen to old 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, alternative and rock. I listen to a little bit of new age, rap and R&B and some of that stuff. I listen to a lot of different stuff. I don't listen to R&B. I don't listen to, basically anything to do with like Latin American music, reggae or jazz. I don't listen to the blues. I don't listen to any of that. I'm sorry. I don't mind it. I don't hate anybody that does. It's just not my thing. To do an entire show based on the celebration of Puerto Rico and the celebration of his heritage and his Latin American roots is a cool thing for him and for all the people that are Latin American and from Puerto Rico or from, anywhere in Central or South America that want to celebrate these roots. But you can't make one group of people happy without making another group of people unhappy. And that's sort of what you have here, right? Like if you had done an entire thing about white honky-tonk country music at the Super Bowl, you would probably not have a bunch of Latin American people being very excited about it. They may not come out and say stuff or whatever, but they're probably just not going to be oh, that's not my type of music. I'm not watching the show. I'm turning it off. We're celebrating MAGA. Trust me, whichever way it goes, there's always going to be half of this country that's mad at the other half. Welcome to America in 2026. So again, I don't have a problem with this guy or his music or his heritage or any of that stuff. I celebrate all that. But when you're doing a performance, when you're doing an event, you have to kind of balance those weights. And I think he should have maybe done it half in English and half in Spanish, because apparently he's fluent in both. And if so, why not? His first and last things was God bless America. Well, you're an American, and you are, but a lot of Americans speak English. Not a lot of Americans understand Spanish. A big chunk of them do not. So why not cater to everybody? It's just a question to me. We're supposed to be uniting here. His whole message was being united, but yet he immediately cuts off part of the audience by singing the most basic of some things, speaking in a language that they cannot understand. Seems like a bad idea to me. Now, the second topic here that I have to kind of go on board on a tangent with is that Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, does whatever he can to make more money. He's a very, very greedy man. I don't care who you support. He just is whatever will make the most money. And so this is a clear and present effort by him to reach out to the Latin American crowds, the Latin American people. Of course, we played football, a game down in Brazil, was it, right? And down in Brazil, was that where they played? He's trying to reach out to these global audiences to get them into football to make more money. Completely understand as a businessman, that's how things work. But alienating one group to welcome in another group who, believe me, are not going to be year-round football fans because they're not here in this country. They're not going to the games. They're not supporting, if you get an overseas TV deal, that's fine, like a streaming deal. You're never going to make them the same level of consumer that you have here in America. You need to keep this customer base that you have. You can't alienate it. And that's a big deal that Roger Goodell just seems to not understand. And yeah, the Super Bowl got huge ratings. It's one time, but now let's go the rest of the season and see what that correlates to, because I promise you it's not what a lot of people think. And so that's sort of my thing. And also with Goodell not liking Trump, and with the big topic being ICE agents and immigration, Goodell knew by putting Bad Bunny out there that it would just stoke the fires. It would stir the pot. And he did. He stirred the pot. Go look at social media. Every comment section, every post is just littered with racists and people going off on things that aren't even related to this, and people that are right and people that are wrong. And it's incredible how one simple thing like this stirs this country to a boiling point, a powder keg, because people in this country can't control themselves when they're hidden behind these screens. A lot of things they would never, ever say if they weren't behind these screens. So that's sort of my thing, is that I think Goodell did it on purpose to stir the pot, to get people watching, to get people talking about the NFL and Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl. And I just wish the world didn't work like that. I wish they could just go about it organically and kindly and not have to push each other's buttons to get this war going in order to get eyeballs and engagement. But that's what makes money, and money makes the world go round. Out of this, because I'm not as familiar with what the other argument was, is that Bad Bunny has some songs that have some really demonic lyrics. This is the alleged song and lyrics. And so I went and looked it up, and I think that one of the songs that people were talking about actually talks about lyrics having to do with kids and like demonic sacrifice, which is totally unreasonably crazy to me. And Jake Paul, you might know Jake Paul, Logan Paul's brother, the Paul brothers, he made a statement that said Jake called on his fans to turn off the performance to show big corporations that they can't just do whatever they want without consequences. And he added that this is a fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America, and he cannot support that. Now, of course, Jake with millions and millions, tens of millions of viewers. And so when he says to do something, a lot of people will follow what he tells them to do. Now, Logan pushed back on his brother saying, I do love my brother, but I don't agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. Now, Logan Paul, if you don't know, has recently purchased property in Puerto Rico. He lives there at least part of the time, and so he does have some form of bias towards that. And so people that have lived in Puerto Rico have been identified as U.S. citizens since 1917. Additionally, Jake Paul, who's lived in Puerto Rico since 2021, would technically qualify as a U.S. citizen. So actually, it's Jake that lives in Puerto Rico. I thought it was Logan. It's Jake who's talking crap about Puerto Rico where he now lives. That's kind of ironic, right? He's doing damage control, claiming the word fake is being misinterpreted, claiming he views Bad Bunny as fake because of his values and criticism of our great country, not because he's Puerto Rican. Jake doubling down, saying, if you publicly criticized ICE, who are doing their job and openly hating on America, I'm going to speak on it. Period. And you'll recall that Bad Bunny called out ICE when accepting the Grammy Award for the Best Musica Urbana album a week before the Super Bowl, going on to say, we're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens. We are humans and we are Americans. It's worth noting both Jake and Logan live in Puerto Rico and have been residents for several years. So I did, yeah. So Logan does live there. They both live there, which is interesting. Bad Bunny did do the ICE out at the Grammys. He criticized ICE. And so ICE has a job to do. And so this is where pot being stirred, people arguing, views, everybody's on board. It's tough, man. It's a real tough situation for everybody. All right, so I pulled the lyrics to this particular song that everybody is calling out. I think it's called Baticano. Is that how you say it? Again, not Spanish, not my first language, but he says things like, where are the horny ladies? Raise your hand, one more dance, we're going to the Vatican. Call your mom to ask for her blessing. I was in hell when I found a devil. It's kind of an interesting set of lyrics there, right? She was selling the soul and I bought it right away. She's very hot. Her friend is hotter. Let's go, the three of us. Little eye-opening lyrics you got going on there, Mr. Bad Bunny, right? And then we scroll down and he says, my God, forgive me because I sinned again. You're horny, I know. I know, my God, forgive me. Okay? Here, let's move on to the second verse, where he scrolls down and he's talking about PR, don't be annoyed, goes down to the bridge, goes, I put in the GYALSs, I put it in the BICHA, single mother as well as Leisha. Hey, hey, I kiss with Vanilla, I kiss with Tokisha. He's talking about a bunch of different women, it looks like. Maybe my music isn't healthy, but I didn't invent sex or marijuana. F those who criticize me, were making money and that annoys them. Everyone is fornicating, the waitress and the preacher. Send me a photo of the young Mika. You got me overthinking. The night has gotten kinky. And then he says, three fingers, blank, 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 the violet butt. This is a very, very XR-rated verse of music here. Not something I would listen to and not something I would want my kids to listen to or anybody really in my family. He says, God is looking at you. God is listening to you. That's what we're teaching our children. Whew. And if he comes down tomorrow, he may catch me on the club. And if he sees it all, I know he has seen me very drunk in the VIP. He knows by heart the ones I've been with. This is some controversial lyrics to a song of Bad Bunny, so I can see why some people were pretty upset about it. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So what are we going to do about Mr. Bad Bunny and his lyrics? What do you think? Bad song? Good song? I don't know. Okay, so of course the president, Mr. Donald Trump there, put out a statement concerning the halftime show, and he says the Super Bowl halftime show was absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense, is an affront to the greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show, in quotation marks, is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401k in history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media, because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Make America great again, President Donald J. Trump, which was retweeted there by the Terrence K. Williams social media post that says Trump crushed Bad Bunny in a new statement. The Super Bowl halftime show being absolutely terrible and one of the worst. And so he posted that, and people were turning on what's called the Turning Point USA halftime show with Kid Rock. Of course, Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's basically little review product. Of course, Turning Point USA made by Charlie Kirk, who of course was unalived last year through the hatred of the left. And that's it. That's the statement there from the president. He couldn't be any more clear that he absolutely hated this halftime show and that it was a disgrace to this country. Searches for immigration and customs enforcement tip line jumped sharply during and right after the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show. Viewers didn't just change the channel, they took action. Unbelievable. And you can actually search that. It shot up around, looks like 8 o'clock p.m. all the way through the end of the Super Bowl. People calling the ICE tip line. Wow. So my final thoughts on this are as follows. I don't care where somebody is from, what their nationality or their roots are, especially if they are an American from Puerto Rico, which is completely legitimate. I don't care what type of music somebody sings because I am into a lot of different genres of music and who they choose to perform the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, his lyrics from other songs are questionable. I do question those, and I wonder what is there to them, if anything, or if they're just lyrics that he's singing very, very R/X-rated lyrics to. That's one topic on its own. My other topic about the whole Goodell doing this just to slap Trump in the face, it is partially true. He literally did this to poke Trump, but also did this to reach out to other fans to make more money in Latin America, South America, Central America, Puerto Rico, you name it. The problem is that's not going to work quite the way that he thinks. This will be a hot button, hot topic for the next couple of weeks, but by the time next year rolls around, all of these people who watched the Super Bowl just to see Bad Bunny are not going to care about watching the United States football game. Most of the world watches soccer, which is referred to as football, coincidentally enough, but they watch soccer. They don't watch American football unless there's special events. A Super Bowl, Americans playing in Brazil or playing in London. We're playing in Australia next year, I heard, as one of the games. That is the reason why. I understand the attempt at getting new audience because you're always looking for new consumers and customers as a business, but at what cost? At what divisive action are you willing to sell your soul to bring those customers in and to try to make more money? This, putting in halftime shows that are not sung in English. If you're going to be in an American stadium in an English-speaking country, majority English-speaking, and a majority English-speaking state and city of San Francisco, California, where the 49ers play, then you should perform that concert or event in English. At the very least, in 50% English. I'm fine if he wants to throw some Spanish in there and mix it up and show the culture in the melting pot. But to do it in just Spanish is absolutely divisive. And don't stop for 1 minute and not think that they knew exactly what they were doing when they put this show on, the attention they would get, the fights they would stir, and the entire meltdowns that would happen from both sides. So to sum it up, I think they're both guilty, both sides, of fighting each other and stirring their pot, because that's 2026 in a nutshell. 2025, that's the last 4.5, 5 years in a nutshell, is this country fighting back and forth, one against the other. And all the while, the rich and powerful are laughing at us, and we're all getting poor, less powerful, and being the laughing stock of this country. So remember that. Love your neighbor. Be nice to each other. Don't fight in the comment sections of social media. And if you're going to do that, do it in the comment section of mine. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. That's my Super Bowl 60 halftime show Bad Bunny, Donald Trump, Roger Goodell breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, let me know about it by hitting the like button and subscribing to this new channel. I'm going to have a lot of hot takes coming, so stay tuned for more videos, hopefully each and every day. See you next time, guys.